Hey, Chris here, and remember you can't learn unless you do, and so I'm going to walk through this rental car problem, but I'm going to get you to do it as well and to submit it, so take your time as you go through it. So we're going to rent a car, and it's got some ideas that Agency A charges 50 bucks and then 10 cents a kilometer, and Agency B charges $30 and 20 cents a kilometer, and Agency C charges just straight 50 cents per kilometer. Okay, so we can have equations here, and we can talk about those at another time, but we're going to graph all three onto one Google Sheet graph. And so we're going to start now. I'm in as my student, and I'm going to go to my drive, and I'm going to create a new Google Sheet. And I'm doing this right from scratch, and good for you to walk through it as well. So we're looking at our headings here is kilometers traveled. And if you want, you can actually, between the word kilometer and traveled, hit Alt Enter, and it pushes the traveled into a second line. So column A is going to be like my x-axis, and then I've got three different things happening on the y-axis. I'm going to have, first one is going to be cost for Agency A. A. I'm going to push this into the second line by hitting Alt Enter, and I'm going to write down what's going on here. It's $50 plus 10 cents per kilometer, 0.10 per kilometer. I'll put a dollar sign in there to make it look nice as well. Okay, and similarly for the next two. And I just paused while I typed the other things in so you didn't have to watch me type. So those things are my main headings, and they're gonna, maybe I'll center them and I'll make them bold, okay? And then we're gonna, how many kilometers traveled? So going back to the question, I know the question is later on talking about how far if you're driving 150 kilometers or whatever. I think I'm gonna go from 0 to 200 kilometers for now. And I can do this a couple ways. I could go and break it and go 0, 10, 20, 30. I'm gonna go one at a time so I can see all the details in here because it doesn't cost anything to go big. And I can add up these 0, 1, 2. I know it's a pattern, so I can highlight those three, wait till my cursor comes over here to this little plus sign and just keep dragging it down until I get to what I say around 200. Okay, so I'll back it up and go like here. Notice here the row is 228, but I'm only at 226 because we've got those first two rows here. Row 1 is being kilometers traveled, and row 2 is going to be 0. So just be careful on that. And I said I think we'll go up to about 200, 210 or something. So let's go to 210. I'll just delete the rest of these guys. Okay. So I'm going to go from 0 to 210 kilometers, and note again that's on row 212. So just be careful. This is like the bingo calling row, and this is the actual kilometers is 210. Okay. So now we have to say cost is going to be $50 plus 10 cents per kilometer. So here it's just going to be $50, right? Because there's no kilometers. Here it's going to be $50 plus 10 cents. So 50. I can do this as plus 0.10 if I wanted to. Whoops, I need an equal sign to say it's a calculation. That'll certainly work. And it's trying to autofill. I don't want to do that. Or I could say it's 50.1, and I know this one's going to be now 50.2 because it's adding 10 cents per kilometer. And I could just keep going down like that. Or I could say this one is equal to the previous one plus 0.10. I like that one the most. It's a formula saying you take whatever I had before and add 10 cents. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to say I've got a formula on this second one, and I'm going to copy that formula all the way down. So experiment with this, try the different ways, because there's lots of different ways to do the same thing. We just want to make sure we end up with the same answers, okay? And so now we've got 50, 50.1, 50.2, and I'm going to just double check this looks like it's just going up by 0.1 each time. Okay, same thing here. We're going to start with $30, and now we're going to say equals whatever I had in the one before plus 0.2 because I'm going up by 20 cents per kilometer. I'm doing this 1 kilometer at a time. I'm not doing it by tens. So again, I've got a formula. And then the last one is going to be 0.50 times the number of kilometers. So here would be 0. Now it would be 0.5, 0.1, 1.0 if I wanted to keep going that way. Or the same as before, I could say equals whatever I had before plus 0.5. And it's going to do the same thing. I'm not going to do a formula there, and I'm going to zoom it down. I know this is going to be a very long video, but we're going to take our time through this, okay? These three columns, all of these guys are actually in dollars, so I'm going to highlight them all and get my formatting to work to say that should be in dollars. It just looks prettier, okay? I'm also going to pretty this up by highlighting everything here and put some grid lines on it, and then we're going to do our graphing. Okay, so we're going to put some grid lines on all of those so it looks nice, and then finally we're going to graph, okay?